What's up, fight fans? Welcome to Triple THS, brought to you by Kountermove Fantasy MMA at Kountermove.com. I'm the other manning brother of mixed martial arts, Tommy Toehold. Today, my UFC 181 Kountermove picks. Let's do this shit! This fucking fight card, fight fans, I mean seriously. This fucking fight card. 2 epic fucking title fights. The return of Ivan Drago, Todd Duffee, Travis Browne, and Brendan Schaub. Uriah Faber is on the fucking prelims. The prelims, if that tells you anything. This card is stacked so hard from top to bottom. It will probably be the most awesome fucking night in 2014, and there is no goddamn way you're missing this one. So how about this? How about you make the best night of your life even better and jump into a Kountermove Fantasy MMA game at Kountermove.com. Tommy, I don't know how to play Fantasy MMA. What if I accidentally click the wrong thing and I end up in a room filled with sharks that can fly? Okay, first of all, I haven't clicked on everything at Kountermove.com, but I'm almost positive your fear of flying sharks filling your room is unfounded for reasons I don't even have time to get into. But your other worry about not knowing how to play, I can solve right fucking now, and I will do you one better. I'm gonna go over the entire UFC 181 card, so not only can you play, but impress the fuck out of your friends, and maybe even win my big-ass tourney. The first thing you're gonna wanna do is head to Kountermove.com using an internet browser of your liking. When you get there, you're gonna say, holy shit, is that professional hot person and distance running superhuman Natasha Wicks? The answer is fuck yes it is. If you are able to look away from her for just a moment though, you will notice that there are all sorts of fantasy tournaments for this Saturday night. Big ones, small ones, free ones, whatever the fuck you want, they probably got it. But the only one I give a shit about right now is the one with my name on it. The big money tourney, 25 bucks gets you in. The top spot is getting $2,500 fucking dollars, holy shit. And the top 42 spots are paying out. That is my kind of tourney. Once you've chosen your game, you'll be brought to the team selection screen, and this is where it's time to nut up or shut up, fight fans. You're gonna take your $25,000 for $10, pick a team of 5 fighters, those fighters perform, you rack up points, you win. It is that fucking easy. Now notice that I said points, fight fans. This is not Vegas. We don't give a fuck about straight picks. This is fantasy MMA, which means it's just like your fantasy football team. Performance means points. The faster your fighter gets to finish, the more points you rack up. Punches and kicks and all that shit, plus how and when your fighters finish will be the deciding factor, not just who wins and loses. So with that in mind, let's take a look at this card from top to bottom and see who our highest scorers are gonna be. All right, first up, we got Alex White and Clay Collard. Clay has a high finish rate, most of his wins by KO, TKO. He is a crazy fighter. He does some weird fucking shit if you saw his first fight in the UFC. It was short notice. He fought Max Holloway. He was very hard to put away. His last 3 fights before entering the UFC were decisions. His opponent, White, has a 90% finish rate in 10 fights, half his wins via sub, a single loss via KO, which came in the UFC to Lucas Martin. He won his UFC debut via KO. Collard can be put away, but it's not gonna be easy. Really not sure if 5,200 is worth it when it comes to White. If the fight goes long, I would avoid this one. Next up, we got Raquel Pennington and Ashley Evans Smith. Pennington is 50-50 decisions to finishes in her 4 wins. She has a sub win and a TKO win. 75% of her losses have come via decision. She's fought some really high-level competition. Both fights in the UFC were a decision. Her opponent, Smith, has 3 wins and no losses with a 67% finish rate via TKO. She does not have a lot of high-level experience against high-level competition. It could be very hard for her to put away Pennington early. I would say Pennington is a good pick here if you want to pick on this fight, but with her decision rate, you're really flipping a coin. I would avoid this one unless you have to. Next up, we got Uriah Faber versus Francisco Rivera. Guys, I don't know what to say about Uriah Faber. This dude is elite, okay? He's got 31 wins, the majority via submission. He has a very high finish rate. Any loss he's had since 2010 has come to the best fighters in the world. Rivera has a 70% finish rate, all via TKO in his 10 wins. He's fought some decent guys in WEC and UFC, but nowhere near the level of Uriah Faber. This one is Faber all day via sub early. He's too good. This is a great pick for this card. It is a lock. It is a must-have. Put Uriah Faber on your fucking team. Next up, we got Corey Anderson and Justin Jones. Anderson has the best nickname in all of fighting. It's Beastin 25-8. Holy fucking shit. He is 4-0 in his career with a 75% finish rate, all via TKO. He won his UFC debut in the first round, but he does not have a lot of experience. Speaking of not having a lot of experience, Jones is only 3-0. He has all stops, most via sub. He will be making his UFC debut. It's a toss-up. Anderson looked like a killer in his debut, but there's not a lot of data on these guys other than that they finish fights. I'm going with Anderson on this one, but this fight is high risk, high reward. Next, we go to the heavyweight division. We got Brendan Schaub and Travis Browne. Schaub has an 80% finish rate, mostly via TKO. 3 of his 4 losses have come via TKO. He just lost a split decision to Andre Arlovski his last fight. He's got a lot of power in his hands, an underrated submission game. He is able to stop people. That, and he has a ton of experience in the division. Browne has the majority of his wins via finish, mostly TKO. He's a Team Jackson guy. He's got a lot of experience. Recently lost a decision to Verdum that was a title eliminator. Almost all of his stops in the UFC have come in the first round against some very good fighters. Schaub has a chance here with his power to catch Browne, but the surer pick here is Travis, even at 5,500. This is one you will want to pick on whether or not you take the risk with Schaub, although it's a very cheap risk at 4,100, but it is very hard to pick against the counter move point generating monster that is Travis Browne. Pick on this fight either way, fight fans. Next, we have Sergio Pettis and Matt Hobart. Pettis is the younger brother of Anthony, but do not be fooled. He's about 50-50 on finishes. He's relatively new to the UFC. All 3 of his fights in the UFC have gone 3 rounds, one of which he was subbed, his only loss. Hobart is also about a 50-50 finisher as well. He's lost twice via TKO. His 2 fights in the UFC, he lost one in the first round via TKO, the other he won via decision. These 2 guys are very similar to each other. No one stat stands out for either. The 5,100 on Pettis is for the name, but I wouldn't pick on this one. I think it goes to a decision. Next, we've got Josh Samman and Eddie Gordon. You might remember Samman as double punches from The Ultimate Fighter. He's got a 90% finish rate in 10 fights. He beat Kevin Casey via TKO in his UFC debut, has lost once via stop in 2008. Gordon is a Sarah Longo fighter, which means he punches holes in fucking chests, but he is about 50-50 decisions to finishes in his 7 wins. He's got 1 loss via decision. He did win his UFC debut in the first round with a KO over Diego Lima. Gordon looks to be pretty tough, probably hard to put away. Samman looked great in his debut. This is a tough fight to pick on. Sarah Longo's a great camp with great fighters. I think Samman is a great value pick given his finish rate, and I think Gordon is more of a question mark if you're gonna have to use 5,000 for him. Tricky fight, but Samman might be a good pick if you're short on cash. Next up, we've got Tony Ferguson and Abel Trujillo. Ferguson has an 81% finish rate and 16 wins, mostly via TKO. He recently won a split decision off of his back to Danny Castillo. This guy's got 4 first-round finishes in the UFC. Trujillo comes from the Black Zillions camp. He's got a 66% finish rate split between 5 TKOs and 3 subs. Has won his last 2 via TKO in the second round. Abel is most certainly a killer for sure, but with Ferguson's first-round stops, there is a much higher chance for him to score big on this one, given his history. All things considered, this being an even money fight, Ferguson is more likely to generate points. All right, next we got Todd Duffee and Anthony Hamilton. You may remember Todd Duffee. He was huge hype coming into the UFC in 2009. This motherfucker looks like Drago in real life. In his early career, he lost in spectacular fashion to Mike Russo and then to the Reem in K1. He came back in 2012 and blasted Phil the French Fries in the first. All of his wins come via TKO or knockout. He is making a long-awaited return. He's had a long layoff due to Parsonage-Turner syndrome, but he is finally able to compete. He's coming out of AKA. Hamilton has a 62% finish rate, mostly via TKO. He is fighting out of Team Jackson. He lost his debut in the UFC via sub, but he really shouldn't have to worry about that one here. Then he won his next fight in August of this year via TKO in the second. You're gonna want to pick on Duffee because he's looked like a monster, but there are too many question marks on Duffee for 5,200. He could come back and be a world beater, but there's no way of knowing after this layoff. He is fighting against someone who is no joke in Hamilton, and with Hamilton's knockout power and Duffee being susceptible to KO in the past, this is a very dangerous fight. If you think we'll get the Duffee of old, he could score you a lot of points, and Hamilton with the upset pick is strong because of his power. If I had to put someone on my team for this fight, I would go with Hamilton. The value is too great there. All right, we are moving on to the title fights. Gilbert Melendez and Anthony Pettis. Melendez has tons of experience. He's the former Strikeforce champion. He has 22 wins in his career, 45% are a decision. He has fought everywhere and everyone. He only has 3 losses in his career, all via decision. He is damn near impossible to put away as shown by the Sanchez fight. He lost a close one to the former champ Bendo, but he has not had a stop since 2011. Pettis finishes fights. 80% of his 17 wins are stops, half via TKO, half via sub. His 2 losses are decisions, one to Clay Guida in his UFC debut. He's had 3 first-round finishes in his last 3 fights. He has fought a ton of high-level competition. This will be fight of the night, probably fight of the year. I don't think this ends early, though. Neither of them have ever been put away before, and I think it will take a hell of a lot to change that on Saturday night, meaning I think it goes late. So in terms of quick finishes, this one is hard to go with. And if you're talking about who will win, Pettis is a massive favorite here, but Gil Melendez is no joke, guys. I think this goes to a split. Hard to put either of these guys on your team unless you think Pettis will steamroll like he has lately, but I just don't see it. And finally, we have the main event of the evening, Robbie Lawler and Johny Hendricks, the second title fight. Hendricks has a 50-50 finish rate. He's got heavy fucking hands, a granite chin, has only lost via decision. Robbie Lawler is a human tank. The last time he was knocked out was by Nick Diaz in 2004. Tons of experience, been all around the world. Very high finish rate for Robbie. Look, these 2 guys have fought, and they fought very recently. I don't see this one being very much different. It is probably going to go to a decision, and it's going to be a tough one to call. I'm going to give it to the champ, but I don't see anyone getting finished here. These dudes are not human. They may rack up a lot of points, but this one goes 5 rounds for sure. I know that's not what you want to hear, but these 2 title fights could be dangerous if we get a lot of first-round finishes. All right, now that we've gone through everything, you're going to pick a team of 5 fighters. You can pick whoever the fuck you want, but I'm going to go with Faber, Browne, Hamilton, Anderson, and Ferguson. Once you've got your team, hit the play now button, invite some friends. Come Saturday night, you can check out how you're doing against the rest of the people in your tourney. You absolutely know you're going to be watching UFC 181 because if you don't, all of your friends will hate you because they are going to be watching. So why not make what will already be a kick-ass fucking night that much better? Get in a Countermove Fantasy MMA tourney, get all your friends to hop in there too, and watch a night that was already filled with beer, pizza, and good times turn into great times, because now everybody is invested in this card. Every fight matters, and there is nothing better than beating your friends at things. That is why you have friends. Not to mention, you can end up winning $2,500 in my tourney. It is a no-brainer. Sign up today. Sign your mom up while you're at it. UFC 181 is gonna be the fucking shit. Get in my tourney, motherfuckers. Right by Triple THS, I'm Tommy Toehold. I will see you on the leaderboards. If my avatar starts blinking and talking to you, then you might need to seek medical attention.